But what is coming is the New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem is coming. So let's have a little reminder about the New Jerusalem from the book of Revelations, chapter 21. And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain great and high, and showed me the holy city of Jerusalem coming down out of heaven, coming down out of the sky. Heaven is space. Coming down out of space from God, shining with the glory of God. Its radiance was like a most precious jewel, like a jasper, as clear as crystal. The city had a great and high wall with 12 gates inscribed, with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 angels at the gates. There were 3 gates on the east, 3 on the north, 3 on the south, and 3 on the west. The wall of the city had 12 foundations, bearing the names of the apostles of the Lamb. He goes into great detail with this. He says, the angel spoke with me. The angel who spoke with me had a golden measuring rod to measure the city and its gates and walls. The city lies 4 square, with its width the same as its length. And he measured the city with the rod, and all its dimensions were equal. 12,000 stadia. This is an insane amount of size. This is an insane size. It's like 1,500 miles in length and width and height. And he measured its wall to be 144 cubits by the human measure the angel was using. Just to get an idea of how big that is, I found a little page here, this one, which somebody had diligently worked to try and explain the size of this. And they put a little cube on a globe here so you could get an idea of how big this cuboid sort of structure the kingdom of heaven would be. And it's basically the same size as the continental, one side is the same area as the continental United States of America. Okay, but it's in a square. It's not in a sort of oblong or rectangular shape. It's in a square. And to get another idea of how big that is, essentially what we're talking about is so we can see that on the channel there. Let me try and find another picture here. Another one is this one, to get an idea. This is a size comparison of the Earth and the Moon. And this is a moon called Eris. You might have heard about it. It's a little bit smaller than our moon, Eris. And that is 1,500 miles in diameter. That's the same height and width of the New Jerusalem that we're talking about. We're talking about something that big. Okay, it's insanely huge. It's the size of a moon, okay? It's the size of a moon. Not a tiny, insignificant moon. It's a large moon. It's almost the same size as our moon. That's the New Jerusalem we're talking about. That's the size given. You might have heard some people talking about the New Jerusalem and saying that it's actually going to be covering the same dimensions as the so-called Greater Israel Promised Land, this one, where they say that the Greater Israel Promised Land is from the River Nile to the River Euphrates. This is a Jewish nationalist or an Israeli nationalist sort of idea that this is going to be the promised land, the true promised land. You know what? This area is too small. This is only 2/3 of the area we're talking about, of one side. This is 2/3. That's too small. That's not big enough to be what we're talking about. It's got to be, the area's got to be that and another half on top of that. It's got to be the same size again, okay? That would be one size we're talking about, one size. That's too small. From the River Nile, from the River Nile to the River Euphrates, that distance is only about 900 miles. That's far too small. That's less than 2/3 actually. Less than 2/3. So you've got to get even bigger than that. So that is definitely scrapped. This idea of this physical gigantic empire of David, whatever they call it, Greater Israel. This is definitely off. This is definitely wrong. Nobody is going to fulfill the prophecy with something that tiny. That's not it. No. What we're talking about is something the size of the Eris moon. That's what we're talking about. Eris. That's humongous. Okay? Absolutely humongous. And it comes down out of heaven. Let's read on and get some more about